Good day, sir. My name is John Vincent P. Peralta, the CEO of this company, and we are going to present our business proposal.
Good day, sir. I'm Brian L. Kusipag, the Vice President of the company.
Good day, sir. I am Chief Financial Officer of the company.
Okay, good day to you all. I am Titus Kenbiro Adap, the owner of the shipping company, the Mapowa Company.
Okay, so, sir, we're going to start. So, type of heat exchanger. So, we have two types of heat exchanger. First is shell and tube heat exchanger. So, what is shell and tube heat exchanger? This is a type of heat exchanger consists of a shell with a bundle of tubes inside on it. One fluid runs flow through tubes and another fluid over the tubes through the shell to transfer heat between the two fluids. So the set of tube is called a tube bundle and may be composed of several types of tubes. So, sir, this is the part of shell and tube heat exchanger. So first is tube bundle. Tubes are the basic components of shell and tube heat exchangers, providing the heat transfer surface between one fluid flowing inside the tube and the other fluid flowing across outside the tube. The tubes may be seamless or welded and most commonly made of copper or steels. So as you can see, Mr. Wada on the picture, so our tube is the one that main component. So next is tube sheets. So tube sheets are the tubes are held in place by being inserted in the holes in the tube sheets and then either expanded into grooves cut into the holes or welded to the tube sheet where the tubes protrudes from the surface. This prevents fluids on the shell side from mixing with fluid on the tube side. So next is the vapols. So they support the tubes in proper position during assembly and operation and prevent vibration of the tubes caused by flow induced. They guide the shell side flow back and forth across the tube field, increasing the velocity and heat transfer coefficient. So, um, simple as they maintain the tube spacing. So, next is head. So, this is where the fluid enters tube side of the exchanger. It's sometimes referred to as the stationary header. So, next, sir, is the gasket. So, used to prevent some leakage on our heat exchanger. So, we are very familiar in these parts because we can see it in every kind of machinery. So, ginagamit natin to, sir, to avoid some leakage. So, the last part is the shell. So, the shell is the simply the container for the shell side fluid. And on the other side, we have a nozzle. And that nozzle are the inlet and the exit ports. So next is the fluid flow or pass. So next, Mr. Kusipag.
Good afternoon, sir. In our heat exchanger, we have two kind of flow and two kind of the passes. First, here in our presentation, as you can see here, we have parallel flow, and the second one is the counter flow. Counter flow. The first I've been talking about is the parallel flow, and is the process of the parallel flow in our heat exchanger. This kind of flow is arrangement for parallel flow. It is heat is transferred from the warm fluid through the wall of the inner tube at kung saan nandito yung mga lugar ng painitan ng tubig. At turn ito sa malamig. Yun. A heat exchanger can also be operated in counterflow, but in which the two fluids flow in parallel but opposite direction. Ayun, sir. As nakikita nyo dito sa ating parallel flow, na iisa lang yung pinupuntahan ng ating fluid. Pero magkakaibang tube at direction yung ano niya. Ngayon, sa ating counterflow, a counterflow heat exchanger is one of the which direction of the flow of one of the working fluid is opposite to the direction to the flow of other fluid. And nakikita niyo, sir, ito yung sa kabila, may mga palihis, may mga pasalubong, padiretso, papataas, pababa, kasi in which the direction of the flow of one of the working fluids is opposite to the direction to the flow of the other fluid. This design of parallel flow is the advantageous. Kasi ang sinasabi daw niya dito na sa ganitong paraan, mas nagiging advantage ang ating parallel flow. Kasi ang ating parallel flow, when the two fluids are required to be brought to nearly the same temperature. Ngayon, ang sinasabi nila dito, mas magandang gamitin ang counterflow kasi kapag ang hinahanap natin ay same temperature, ngayon ang gagamitin natin ay ang counterflow. Pero kung ang gagamitin natin ay kumbaga transition, heat to cold, cold to heat, ang gagamitin natin ay kind of flow is parallel. So, ayun lang po.
So, Sir Ruada, our next type of heat exchanger is the plate heat exchanger. So, it's a type of heat exchanger that uses metal plates to transfer heat between two fluids. This has major advantage over conventional heat exchanger in that the fluids are exposed a too much larger surface area because the fluids are spread out over the plates. So, the parts of plate heat exchanger. The first one is the top bar. It is the upper part of the plate heat exchanger. So, as you can see, Mr. Wadaf, the bar that over the or above our heat exchanger, that is the bar. So, next is end plate. So this end plate is the upper part of our plate. So kanina, meron tayong upper part of heat exchanger. Ito namang end plate is the upper part of our plate na kung saan meron tayong dalawang klase. The unblank and the one is none. So as you can see on the picture, we have the holes. So that is the end plate on the top. Next is the fixed frame. So fixed frame this is the basic component of the plate heat exchanger frame. So sir, from the name itself, it is the unmovable frame. Next is the movable frame, opposite of our fixed frame. So this frame can move because it has his purpose. So the last part is the plate. So plate is the part of heat exchanger which is you can see in the picture our heat exchanger is composed. So this plate is where the fluid pass that heat transfer happen. So next, fluid pass, Mr. Kusipag.
And sir, as you can see, sir, we have two kind of our fluid pass, which is single pass and dual pass or multi-pass. As you can see here, sir, it's very simple. This is the flow or the fluid pass in our single pass. The flow of the liquid in single pass. As you can see, it's only a fluid that passes each other once only. Ngayon, ang sinasabi niya dito, yung water natin na mainit, kapag dumaan siya, ay talagang mainit na. Pag dumaan ulit siya pag dumaan siya sa malamig, malamig din siya lalabas. Ayun yung sinasabi dito. But, based on our dual pass, sinasabi dito na multi-pass heat exchanger have a fluids that passes each other more than once through the use of the U-tube and bubble regenerative heat exchanger used from the same fluid for heating and cooling. Yun, ayun, nakikita niyo naman sir na nanggaling yung ating fluid dito sa ating engine na lumabas siya dito at pumasok. Ayun, natin yun dito na mainit yung tubig at lumabas siyang malamig kasi simply because dumadaan siya both from heating process to cooling process yun, to the next engine. So, ayun po. Next, Tan.
Function of heat exchanger installed in ship system. Heat exchanger are kind of thermal machine widely employed on ships of every type, from cruise ship to a large ones, where they provide cooling engines and hydraulic oil in order to ensure the perfect lubrication and working conditions of each transmission and power system on board. Heat exchanger, ano nga ba ang tungkulin nito sa pagbabarko? Isang thermal machine na nakalagay sa isang malaking barko or cruise ship at kung saan ito nga pala ay nagbibigay ng lamig sa iba't ibang engine and some hydraulic oil. In order to ensure some perfect lubrication and working condition of each transmission and power system on board, heat exchanger is related to heating incoming gas streams of heat formed from various flow system and maintenance of the uniformity of the temperature. And some tips. It helps engineers predict the stream's outlet temperature without a trial and error. Solution that would be necessary. Isang malaking benepisyo sa pagkakaroon ng heat exchanger on board that they do not rely on additional equipment such as an air compressing unit to operate. They usually significantly less energy and produce no pollution to other cooling methods. That's all, sir. The examples of heat exchanger found on board. First is the freshwater generator. Freshwater system for generating freshwater, seawater condenser, and jacket evaporated is used both are types of heat exchanger. Next is the air compressor. Starting air system. High pressure air is produced in the compressor which is further cooled in intercooler which is act as heat exchanger. Next is steam turbine unit. Steam turbine unit. If a ship consists of a steam turbine or turbine generator, normally a spiral heat exchanger is used for heat transfer.
Okay, so thank you. That's all, Mr. Roadap. This is where our business proposal ends. So if you have question, feel free to ask. Pero medyo nag-ano ata. Hindi marinig. Paulit. Kakat na lang. Humihina yung internet mo eh.
Nagahang siya, nagahang.
Salita ka nga, pre.
Hello.
Yan, ayan, okay na. Tanong ko ulit.
Peralta, what are the advantages of and tube type heat exchanger?
So the advantage of shell and tube heat exchanger are it has a more rugged design than other heat exchanger. Next is since the device can be easily dismantled, cleaning and repairs is relatively straightforward. Also, it can stand more process and physical abuse. So It can withstand with very high temperatures and pressures. The pressure drops and the pressure can be varied over a wide range. So since the device is made using different materials, it has a substantial flexibility. It can withstand corrosion and several other problems. Boiling heat transfer or condensation can be easily accommodated in either shell or tube of the device, and the orientation is vertical or horizontal. You can enhance the heat transfer via the extended heat transfer pins. So that's all, sir.
And how often heat exchanger?
Excuse me, sir. Can you repeat the question, please?
How often should heat exchanger be serviced?
Okay, sir. It is good working practice to service and inspect and clean your heat exchanger every 12 months. However, subject to the working condition, this may be vary every 24 months.
To Sipag, what is the work of fluid in heat exchanger?
Okay, sir. The work of our fluid flow in heat exchanger during the operation of the heat exchanger is with the conductive partition. Heat is transferred from the fluid to cold, which is the sequence from hot fluid to the adjacent surface of the wall by the convection, through the wall of surface aside by the conduction, and from the wall to the cold fluid by the convection. That's how it works, sir.
Thank you, everyone. I am impressed with your business proposal, and your business proposal is already approved. Congrats.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.